Welcome to the Brokers of Expertise demonstration screencast. The Brokers of Expertise system is a web-based resource produced by the California state government. Designed for ease of use, the system allows educators to do several things. Make large numbers of high-quality educational resources available to educators across the state. Help educators to find and communicate with each other on issues of mutual interest. And give communities of educators a place to create and share resources. To accomplish these goals, the Brokers of Expertise system has two main components: a content repository and a group collaboration system. Let's start this screencast by looking at the content and resources features of the site. We'll start as a logged-in user in order to demonstrate all the features on the site. Many of the resource features are also available for users who are not logged in. Only logged-in users can customize their home pages and participate in community discussions. First off, let's look at the Standards browser. The Standards browser is designed to permit easy, intuitive access to the state standards. In this example, we have a number of standards available, from career technical education to standards for the teaching profession and standards for English language development. For our purposes, we'll select the California Academic Content Standards. These are the core curricular standards across the entire state. Here, the browser shows us the top-level view for all standards areas. We'll take a look inside the Mathematics branch and grades 8 to 12, Algebra 1. The browser supports multi-level standards. Here, Substrand 1.0 has additional standards inside it, while Substrand 2.0 is a complete standard itself. The icons on the screen are also significant. The first one, the graduate with a cap on, shows the alignment between the content standards and the California High School exit exam. For example, Substrand 15.0 is likely to receive one question on the exit exam. This standard is also likely to receive at least one question on the California Standards Test, or STAR exam, as indicated by the star icon. The last icon shows the number of educational resources matched to this standard available on the site. We'll click on the Resources icon, which will lead us to the Resource browser. Here we can see a summary of the 5 resources available for this standard. Resources can come in many types, from videos to photos, web pages, and text documents. Taking a look at these resources, we can see 4 websites and 1 PDF file. It's important to note here that the broker's site is able to store information locally that lets users go directly to the correct page on the remote site. In this case, 3 of the web resources are all part of the Illumination site, but they link to different instructional areas within that site. Let's take a look at one of these web resources so you can see how they fit into the broker's system. Now we're on the resource detail page. This shows the complete picture for a piece of content. One principle on brokers is transparency. In this case, transparency means showing where the resource came from and what users think about it. This resource comes from the Thinkfinity collection. You can also see how many people have marked this resource as a favorite, and also any comments that they have left. Users can also watch or bookmark resources to monitor updates and changes to the resource over time. On the right-hand side, you can also see the grade level, subject area, and standards match for the resource. We'll click through to the resource so you can see how the system is connected with a third-party site. Here we can see the detailed material that make up this resource directly on the creator's website. Finally, we'll take a look at the topic browser to see another way that educators can find resources. By clicking on the Mathematics shortcut, we can go directly to the Math subject area homepage. From here, we can see a different view of the mathematical content on the site. Inside Algebra, there are various curricular areas. We'll click on Algebra and Functions. But you can see there are a range of options. This topic browser is also flexible and can support changing taxonomies as needs change. Now we can see a large number of resources which meet our criteria. Currently, the site displays the resources alphabetically. Over time, the site will be learning the usage patterns for how different kinds of users interact with these resources. It will make the most relevant ones available to each user. So if I were an early grades visual arts teacher attempting to integrate mathematics into my curriculum, I'd see the resources most likely to be of interest to me first. We can demonstrate that to some extent by providing search terms into the browser. In this case, I'll select a set of appropriate grade levels. I'll just type in art. We can see one item is returned, and we can click into that resource. We can see that a supplemental art project is provided. That should give you a pretty good overview of the content repository system. Now let's take a look at the group collaboration system. The group collaboration system allows educators to team up and work together. These teams might be groups from pre-existing programs in the real world, or they might be spontaneous groups that form solely inside the broker's system. The system has several group components centered around each group's home page. A user on the system can belong to many groups. Groups themselves can have varying degrees of privacy, including public, moderated, and private groups. This is similar to how group systems work in Google or Facebook. In this case, we can see I belong to 3 active groups. Clicking on one of the groups takes us to the group home page. Here we can see the leaders and members of the group, threaded discussions taking place, resources that are recommended for the group, and internal shared resources which the group has posted for itself. These are often documents related to running the group. Discussions are the main area where communication occurs for a group, though the group can also create links over to third-party forums if they prefer a different communication tool. The recommended resource section is a place where the group can define sets of resources that are relevant to its work. This allows the same resources to be used in different ways by different groups. A mathematics resource might be good for professional development in one group and for classroom instruction for another, and both groups can maintain a link to the same resource. In the near future, the system will let users organize several resources into instructional units, so the curriculum, lesson plans, assessments, instructional guides, and professional development videos can all be collected together, representing a specific learning outcome for a particular group. In that way, an English language development group can define not just what resources are useful for their work, but how those resources can be used effectively within their instructional context. Another important concept in the collaboration feature is how the system connects groups, users, and resources together. Let's say I'm an English language development teacher and I'm looking for primary source materials. I can search for those keywords in the resource browser. And click through to a resource page that looks relevant. If I find a resource useful, I might be curious about who posted the resource. In this case, it's someone named Steve. I can click on the poster's name and see their profile. From here I can see other resources he's posted, as well as see what groups he belongs to, and also what resources he has found useful. If a particular group looks relevant to me, I can click on it and see what's going on there. We can see the discussions occurring with this group. And if I want, I can join into the conversation. In this way, you can see how resources, users, and groups are all interrelated, so that I can find an interesting group and see what resources are relevant, or find a resource and end up joining a group that is related to the content area. To end this demo, let's take a closer look at that primary source resource we had selected. It's a digital reproduction of John Hancock's cover letter to the Declaration of Independence, made available by the Karpelès Library. This resource is quite special because it provides students with a picture of what John Hancock actually wrote, as well as a translation into modern English characters. This powerful aid is just one example of how the digital future is connected with our living past, and how we can all help each other become better brokers of expertise. This concludes the Brokers of Expertise screencast. Thank you for watching. Please contact us for more information about this system. You can find contact information on our website, boepilot.org.